What Pokemon enhancement ROM hacks should you look for? If you're looking for a quick answer, it's the Draiano games. I made a video about it. If we dive a little deeper on this topic though, there's actually a lot more to say. I have played and reviewed loads of ROM hacks as well as enhancements, and some are a lot better and some are a lot worse. Just for the record, I will be spending a segment later in this video to the Draiano games, as they are obviously a huge part of the enhancement scene. Hey everybody, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Only 20% of my viewers are actually subscribed, so if you find this video to be enjoyable, make sure to subscribe. Thank you! Generation 1 through 3 are the easiest games for ROM hackers to edit, and thus you will see the most enhancements happening in those games. I gotta say though, if you are looking for a good Gen 1 enhancements, use a randomizer. The games are so fundamentally basic in their kind that the best way to experience them in another way would be, in my humble opinion, to just randomize them. There are games like Blue, Kaizo, or other difficulty ROM hacks, but that does not really interest me if I want to play Gen 1 in another way. If I want the Gen 1 smoke, I'm either playing the originals casually or putting a randomizer Nuzlocke on it. For Generation 2 though, there is already a lot more content. Take Pokemon Crystal Clear for example. It might be one of the best enhancements that was ever made. In this game, you have the freedom that you have always wanted from a Pokemon game. You're able to start in either Kanto or Johto and do every gym challenge in whatever order you wish. This means you can start off at Brock, then go to Blue and finish off at Whitney. The levels scale with each gym badge, making the game harder and harder as you progress. This is probably what I think of if I think of the perfect Pokemon enhancement. It takes every single great thing from Pokemon Crystal and combines and applies it in a beautiful ROM hack. This is far from the only enhancements of Generation 2 there is, but it is without a doubt the best one. The other notable Gen 2 enhancements are an immediate nice segue to the Generation 3 hacks, as they are all made in the Pokemon Fire Red engine. Pokemon Liquid Crystal and GS Chronicles are both remakes of Pokemon Crystal that are made for the Game Boy Advance, and they both try the same thing. It's playing Pokemon Crystal, but the graphics, story, catchable Pokemon and difficulty are slightly increased. Although I think both games are fine, I'd say Pokemon Liquid Crystal is the better of the two, due to some really bad glitches being present in Pokemon GS Chronicles. They would both be fine enhancements for Crystal though. Then for the rest of the GBA Pokemon games, there are endless versions. The most notable ones are games like Pokemon Emerald Kaizo, which absolutely destroyed the hardcore Nuzlocking scene for the past 2 years, being an absolutely wild and insanely difficult game. You also have Pokemon Fire Red Rocket Edition, which has the best story I have ever seen in a video game. You play in this game as a Team Rocket grunt, following the Team Rocket's perspective of the Pokemon Fire Red story from that grunt's perspective. It has some of the best written and thought out story I have ever seen, and I would advise anyone to go and play it. I have to say though that past the 3rd generation of games, most of the good enhancements you will encounter will be based solely on a more constructive and higher difficulty. This is pretty logical, as you can only change so much about a Pokemon game without changing the soul of that game. And the difficulty is something that can always be changed without touching that core. This would also be the time to talk about Draiano. For those who do not know, he is the premier maker of Pokemon enhancements. He has made enhancements for a lot of games, and they continue to be extremely popular to this day. What you are getting is a higher but still extremely fair difficulty, which is probably harder to achieve than most people would think. He was very much ahead of his time, with some beautiful features being added, like the early bike, trait evolutions being possible, and the fairy type being included in most of his games. I can honestly say that all of his games are worth playing if you are looking for a challenge, an improved flow, and for a better Pokemon experience overall. There are very few things things that he has not thought of, and you just notice that love and care in every single one of his enhancements. For the rest of the generations, I'll just be giving a call to either a Draiano hack or another enhancement that I have played or have been wanting to play. For Generation 4, there's Renegade Platinum, from which I have heard it is the best ROM hack made by Draiano so far. You also have his remakes of Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, being Sacred Gold and Storm Silver, which are being remade again currently by Draiano. For Generation 5, there's Pokemon Volt White and Blaze Black, or Volt White and Blaze Black 2 respectively. For Generation 6, the enhancements start getting a bit less, but some good ones would be Pokemon Eternal X and Wilting Y, which both make for some really good hard enhancements to try out. There's also Pokemon Rising Ruby and Sinking Sapphire, which are again made by Draiano. For Sun and Moon, there are Nova, Sun, and Umbra Moon, which are again really great difficulty hacks, which absolutely kicked my ass in a Nuzlocke of them. It's interesting that almost all hacks of Generation 4 are purely based on difficulty, but at the same time it does make sense. From Generation 4, the features to create really hard battles and thus hacks without adding excessive bullshit are really introduced. Like the physical special split, a lot of items, and a lot of cool new balanced Pokemon. This was honestly all the knowledge I have so far about Pokemon enhancements. I would honestly love to see more done with the Generation 4 engine and above. But at the same time, I get that that is a hard task, which is already being worked on meticulously. Let me know if you played any enhancements in the past and how you liked them. Thanks everybody for watching, and have a great day.